put on this computer and share screen. Okay, how's everyone doing today?
Hi Sarah, how are you?
I'm very well. Yeah. Did everyone have a good session this morning with David and Paul?
Yeah, with David we've got set up an alert for a long-term trade. Yeah, and Paul's one was good. We went through the strategy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was
great.
a good start.
Was that EuroCAD? I saw a comment David had put. He said that was setting up.
Yeah, I had to jump off right at the end, so I missed that bit.
Okay. I think I saw a written comment about that. Okay, well, let's get started. We've got Forex Factory. It's an all-day US bank holiday. We can see here if you've got Forex Factory, and welcome to everyone if you're in the 7-day free trial group. I had someone join my team over the weekend from Belgium, which was very exciting. So hoping to go up there and do a live trading workshop in September. I've put the idea to him to kind of launch mainland Europe, which I thought would be good. So we'll see how that pans out. So here we are. You need to put this on your local time so that you can see where the sessions are. And always check the red news. We've got quite a lot going on this week, as you can see, across Australian dollar and yeah, mainly Australian dollar early week, but a mix of things with some euro and GBP later in the week. So we always watch out for that because it can cause price to spike either way as the bankers move money. They hide behind the news, how they want to move money. And most money, the biggest session is always London. That's the biggest financial market where you get the big runs of money. You don't get the same big momentum moves in New York. That's the second biggest session. And then Asian is third. So let's go on to our pairs. CAD JPY has just gone off. We'll have a look at that then in a minute. I did spend some time last night looking at charts when the markets opened, and also this morning, so I've set some alerts. And now I'm in NZD, New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen at the moment. I never usually set the take profit, and normally I'd be looking for the 20 pips down here.
This is what you call it. This IM Academy.
This is IM Academy. This is TradingView. I do all my charts on TradingView. You can get a free version, which will allow you 3 indicators.
What? New Zealand Japanese.
Yeah. And why did I get into this trade? Because I'd been through all the pairs. I did have several alerts set from last night. It wasn't one I was particularly looking at then, but I was going back through them this morning, and I got in because the 62 EMA, which is a moving average of price over 62 days, that's one. I'm on the 1-minute chart here, and that's what allows me to do a 10 pip stop loss, except for GBP pairs where I do 15 because they're a bit more wild. So I saw that crossed over, and this dotted line is a trend line. Now this is called the Harmonic Scanner, which is a very, very powerful tool. It's free with our Platinum package, and the Harmonic Scanner, sorry, I just need to get rid of that brush mark, and I can never get rid of it directly. One day I'll work that out. The Harmonic Scanner is here, and it gives you on any pairs that it's showing 5 reversal points in the market, 89% accurate out of 100,000 independently tested. And the scanner also gives you a suggested trade as well, which is very, very useful indeed. And then I take it one step further. I put trend lines on with one click, which is called a pitchfork. And that goes always from X to C to D. I don't usually put the background on. And that shows me where price is going to reverse as well, because that has something called Fibonacci built into it. But people think the financial markets are random. They're not. And as one of the educators said to me, everything runs to something. You know, your body runs to a clock. You know, the world runs to time, and financial markets move money in levels, and there's very big sums of money being moved. So it's not random movements, and it has patterns in it. And these I don't know how, it takes a lot of time to work out how to actually build these harmonic scans. I don't know how you do that, but I do know they work. So we get these off the Harmonic Scanner, and then I take them over and draw them on TradingView. So I had the latest scan, and I put my trend lines on, and then another indicator I use is called quarters theory. It's always at 0s and 5 zeros, because that's how the big banks settle up. And then I go to the 15-minute, and this is what I saw this morning. So it's quite a slow moving pair, as you can see. So I got in just when the 62, let's go back down to the 1 minute because I can show you more precisely. I got in when the 62 crossed the 15-minute, and that's just a moving average of the 1 minute over the 62 days, but shown on the 15-minute chart. There are 4 candles to an hour in 60 minutes. That's 4 15-minute candles, but on this orange line, that's 62 candles in 1 minute over 60 candles in 1 hour. And this is showing the moving average over 62 days of those candles. So you can see how price has respected, fallen down. It's stayed under that 62, which is a strong sign. It's still going down, and it has touched that next pitchfork there. So I'm waiting for it to come down, and I put another, got to turn the notifications off on some of the groups, sorry. Getting chat messages coming in. So I had a rejection here of something called the 61.8, and in fact, it's gone down to that there now. So I probably should have set my take profit at that point there. But we'll leave it and see what happens next. It's still well under. And then I put on, you don't have to put all these indicators on, you just pick a few, otherwise you'll get analysis paralysis. You don't want to use too many. You can overdo it and then it ends up very confusing. So I'll just move that 518, 618 I was in at. Move that over. So you can see this is a 15-minute band showing price red. It's still dropping on the 15-minute time frame. So we'll see how that pans out anyway as we go along. So that's, now if you're saying to yourself, have you got room to get into this trade at the moment? I probably wouldn't bother getting into it now myself if I were you. It's quite a slow moving pair. Both of those pairs are outside of session. They belong in the Asian session. So I'd leave that one at the moment. And I really think I should have just put the take profit at that level and just left it at that, but never mind, I didn't. I forgot to do that because it'll, if it's perfectly rejected off the 61.8, it'll go to the negative, and all you do to put a Fibonacci on is draw from the high to the low, and you're using a tool over here called fib retracement. And people have various different settings that they like. Just depends on personal choice. My favorite's the 88.6 or the 78.6, but the 61.8 is also very good as well. So we'll see what happens there. I'm going to close this window at the moment because it can slow the computer down when I'm live streaming. So this is CAD JPY on the 15-minute. The alert went off. I just set it above this trend line here, and you can see that it's let's get rid of that now. It's bounced off that trend line. I've drawn these parallel lines for a 15-minute channel. I've seen what it was doing in the 15-minute channel, and the smaller one is the 1-minute channel. And I'll just remove that little squiggle that I put on because that was a reminder to me what I thought price was going to do. So what does this chart tell us? It tells us that price is still pushing up strongly. It's touching the 62, but it's still coming up. And sorry, I keep getting the note. I usually turn the notifications off. I wonder whether I should just do that on these. I usually do, otherwise they ping the whole time. And this one, sorry. Okay. So CAD JPY, has it broken? And you have to form your own little rules. All this I've learned off one of the educators. That's broken and retested by 12 pips. So that is still in a buy mode. It's also above quarter theory. So we're on the 15-minute. I'll take these channel lines off at the moment just to clean it up a bit. There we are. So this should be, I'm not in this, I just put this here to I put the long, you called a long position for a buy, buy, and a short position for a sell. So you're looking for it to go up to, it depends what ratio you want to use. We'll put the indicator on. And ideally, I like to have my stop loss covering me with protective lines, barriers. So I've got a pitchfork there and quarter theory. So this is quite a good one, I think, to get into. But I'll just show you something else I did, which is I didn't actually have a scan for this one because the last scan was a sell scan coming down here, these white lines. So you can see here I've drawn on what you call a second pitchfork, which is a little bit more advanced. I don't suggest that if you're brand new that you do this, but it's you draw the point out into the middle of nowhere, then it's X to A, and it either lines up with a D touch, and you just look at how many points you've got across that, or you do it on the C touch. But the important thing is it must be in the opposite direction to the scan. So you can see I've got it going upwards, and that's now caught price. And you can see I've worked off various touch points. Can you see all these touch points I've got along here? That's what I'm looking for to make sure I've got it as accurate as I can. But really it's a best fit pitchfork when you're drawing them yourself. So I'm just going to write this one down. And we'll put our indicator on. So this is, and Canadian dollar is in session, not technically on holiday as US. Let's go back to our 15-minute. Now, if you're on B or at BYOB, then you'll probably be on the 15-minute. And let's see what the pivots are doing. This is lazy man's high and low. So if price is forming a higher low, which it is there, and a higher high, then that's your current trend. But on the 1 minute, which is showing all like the little wrinkles in your hand, you can see price is always sucking back to the 62 EMA. And indeed, it's, excuse me, it's moving quite slowly at the moment. And I found the markets quite slow this morning. There were 1 or 2 little bits. But let's go back to our indicator and take the pivots off so we keep a clean screen. And I'll just put a trend line on, which is this one up here, so we can see what's happening. So that's showing you, and you can, this is where you can create your own channel. because you're looking for price to stay in that channel. That's quite a tight channel, but you've got lots of touch points. You could move it out there, but I probably prefer that at the moment. So you can do something like that. And let me just take that off because I don't want to confuse everyone with too many lines. And let's put an indicator on. I haven't changed the candles. So on the 15-minute, that's saying sell. If you've got a free version of TradingView, you'll be able to have 3 indicators. This isn't an indicator, these are types of candles. And if you're running the BYOB strategy, you want to put on the Heikin-Ashi. And the reason for that is that I think they show an average. So therefore, it will show you flat bottoms, and you want a solid flat bottom. You can see here a nice candle pattern with flat bottoms going up. One of your indicators you'll put on is called the stochastic, and you want it, it shows you price going, let's just see if I can get that a bit bigger for you. So you can see how price here, nice candle pattern. It said, the indicator said buy. This purple line is the 50 EMA moving average, which is very similar to my orange 62. You can see how close they are. So you can see how price has now stayed above that. Nice flat bottoms, candle pattern going up. It didn't come outside the purple box. Ideally, you want the extreme at the bottom for it to show you that it's been oversold and it's going to come up. There we are. So it didn't quite do that. As you get a bit more experienced, you'll have more confidence. You can see one down here. When you first start off, you want it in the extreme and you want a nice 45-degree angle. The blue are buyers, and that will be reflected here. It said buy there, and sure enough, if you'd followed that up to the top, you've got a nice move there of, and that was off that pitchfork, my trend line. So a nice move there of your 10 pips for the day. So that was a very nice little move. And that was Friday. That was Friday. So what's it doing at the moment? It's telling us that it's going back down. It's selling on the 15-minute. So in terms of this pitchfork and the quarter theory, what it's saying is it's retesting that line. So once it's come back down here, look for it to turn. And if it's, you've got a widening of the Bollinger Bands, flat candles, and a SAR flip, which is your third indicator you'll put on. So with your free version of TradingView, this is why we've designed BYOB. Very simple for new people. We've got an even simpler strategy, which is just Fibonacci that you put on the D point with 2 candles. So we're showing that quite a lot this week. We've got you're waiting for the SAR flip. Now that orange dot needs to now come down here. So if we go back to this example, you can see there's the orange dot, the SAR flipped to underneath. And that's where you would have got in on that. So those flat candles there. Not a huge, quite slow moving market, but maybe I'd expect that because that was Friday. And then here, although you're halfway up, it's moved again, and that was early hours of this morning because that was Japanese yen moving, and now we're into New York Open, but it hasn't quite come to the extreme there, so that's reflected in the narrower Bollinger Bands. So we're looking for a SAR flip, and then wait for it to go down to the bottom. So I think the entry is going to be I would be looking at it at 85, 83, say 83.025. You could get into it now. It depends on what confirmations you use. If I take this off, just hide those, and put it back on the ordinary candles. So back on the 15-minute, I've had my break and my retest. It's above the 62, and quarters theory should come on in a minute, and it's above quarters theory. So in terms of the system that I use, which I learnt long before we had BYOB, that is a buy to me, and that would be entry. What's the price at the moment? Just 83.047. So it's done its break and retest. Let's just double check that was 10 pips. That's 14 pips. Oh no, sorry, wrong line. Maybe not quite 10 pip retest. Doesn't look like it, does it? 8.4. Now I have been caught out in the past where I've thought that under 10 pip break and retest was solid enough for taking the trade, and often it's been what you call slippage, and it's gone the other way. It's just slipped through the line the wrong way. But this does say it's a buy. And then there was a very good trade I was in the other last week, and it only broke 8 pips, and it went very well. But normally I try and stick to that rule, because here you can see it is saying that it's in a downward trend on the 15-minute. So it looks like it wants to slip back down there. What time are we at? So I'd probably now look at the 30-minute candle, because you want to look at your candle closes. So look at your 15-minute candle close, 30-minute and hourly. So if we just sit and look at what this is going to do in the last, so that's just, you'll see it over here. Let me just take off. Got more than one. So that green one is a sell candle, and the hourly, normally here you can see the oh, that's why I want the hours on the 30-minute. Normally it'll give me the counter. I wonder if TradingView is glitching. Very strange, because normally it'll give me a counter to show me what the hourly is doing, but it's not coming up on there. That's a bit odd. Let's go back to the 15-minute. Can I see it on there? I don't think I've done anything different. So 6.8, not quite enough of a break, but it does seem to still be moving up. So if you wanted to look at that as a trade, then it would be a buy, and it would be 83.047 or just above, depending on how many pips you're going to go for, and a stop loss of 82.933 at that price, and a take profit, it should go up to this next level, 83.233, but it could stop at about 10 pips and fall back. Just put a horizontal line on. I usually put one at about 1 pip for when I put my stop profit in, clone that, and then 047, so that'd be 147, and that just gives you some visuals to work to, and then I add an alert there. So that's on the 15-minute, and on the 1 minute, let's see what the trend's doing. So in 1 minute, it's not moving. Now, best times to trade New York, this is the sessions timer up here. You can see where it opened at 2 o'clock. This is another indicator on TradingView, and it just helps. You know, normally New York will start moving between 2 o'clock UK time and 4 o'clock UK time. So you can see it's still wanting to go above there. Okay, so that's CAD JPY.
Are you in that trade, Sarah?
No, I'm not. I've only
No.
just looked at this because the alert went off. The only one I'm in is that
Okay.
NZD JPY. And it's just, I just find everything's rather very slow today. I suppose it's the US holiday, but I thought
Yeah.
London was slow as well. I didn't get into anything until I looked at that NZD JPY, and then I only put 0.04 lot size on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't very into anything in this morning. Okay, so that's CAD JPY. Let's just close that. And what else did I have? Oh, we could look at sorry, I've just got all these things that I'd marked up. Let's look at EuroCAD, as that was on David's this morning. So with EuroCAD, that crossed over 10 o'clock UK time. It didn't do that move. I'd put the alert there to see what it did at this pitchfork. It's below the 62. Has it broken by 10 pips? 8.2 again, you see. That always gets me a little bit concerned because I have got caught out in the past where it hasn't broken enough and then it's gone back the other way. But it is below quarter theory. It is heading down. This is on the 1 minute. So if I put a trend line on, find the most current trend. And let's just check that with the pivots are showing. Oh, well, the pivots have showed a leveling off there, and it's virtually level there. So it's not really doing an awful lot at the moment, I don't think. And it hasn't really broken very much. And so I don't think it's got enough in it for me. Just put these, put the hull on. So the hull is saying it's still moving down over 15 minutes, but I mean, that can change. Doesn't take a lot for it to, you know, if it started, it's got about a 30% lag. So if it started to move back up above the pitchfork, it would soon turn to green again. And then it could well, you know, go back up to that 15 line, which is on quarter theory at the moment. So I don't think I'd want to get into that. So what's that actually telling us? Not much of a break. It's stalled out along the 62. It's trying to make another attempt down, but it's virtually an equal low. And it could possibly come back up to as high as this to test that before dropping down again. So if anything, I'd be looking for it to do that. Because it's broken that trend now. And on the 15 minute, it is on a downward scan. Oh, I hate that. So it's had a big drop down. So it's right down in the extension. So it's right down at the very edge of that scan anyway. And I think Euro's been moving up. It's leveled out across one or two other ones that I was looking at because it's had such a slide down. So it could well be turning at this point anyway. So I don't think that's really an area that I'd want to get into it for a sell personally on EuroCAD. And we could look at Euro NZD. And what did that say on this hourly scan? So on the hourly scan, again, it was a sell scan. That was the big, that was news last week, that big drop there. So this one is, it's working, it seems to be working its way back up now.
Come on again.
Take those off. That was an old channel I was looking at. So that's definitely turned, and I had the alert set on here. So let's see on the 1 minute what it's doing on that pitchfork. So again, not a lot of movement. This must be because it's, I can only think it's because it's US bank holiday, because it's very slow at the moment. So it's still moving up, but it's not. I'm going to get rid of these. But it's stalling out on this pitchfork, and it's just kind of, you know, stalling out on the 62. So there's nothing for us there on EN. GBP USD, I am tracking this one. That was my purple line, just to give me a little note as to what I thought it was doing. I thought it might go up and retest that pitchfork, but it didn't. But it is a sell scan. I did well on this the other day. So I've set, and these were the scanner levels. If you still want to make a note of these prices, this is still a valid scan. I've just copied them across. I put it in the Ninja Trade Hub. So you could take these levels, the take profit levels from the scanner. You can just take a screenshot of that and work it out. So I'm on the 15-minute chart. So what I want to see is, I'll just take my little line off. So I'm looking, it's stalling out there, which is done for 2 hours or so, done absolutely nothing. I presume that's because of the US bank holiday. So I want to see it come down here, and then I shall get in again, do something like that. Well, I've just drawn that on the 15-minute. Normally, let me show you on the current trend on the 1 minute. Okay. So these blue lines are all take profit levels given by the scanner. So you can see it's still below the 62. It's stalled out for forever. Stalled out for nearly 2 hours. And that's why I put my alert here. So I want to give me a best chance. Pitchforks are like really aggressive trend lines, and they're like little boomerangs. So I want to see price do this now, come down, test that quarter theory up to the pitchfork, and then down again. So I'd be looking at an entry myself. It doesn't mean to say you can't get in earlier. Entirely up to you. Remember, it is US bank holiday. But I'm going to make a note for myself, and I'll show you short position. So when you see price coming down, you don't need to rush into a trade. You want to see it retrace, and then this is your best entry point when it's done the retest, and then you're not going to sit in any drawdown, have to sit looking at it. So 10, this is a GBP pair, so might put a bit more on it, but I'll see how it goes. If I can get away with 10, then I will. And then down to 20. And in fact, that's perfect, because that's actually on the line of their suggested take profit to, I think that's their TP2, isn't it, that one? Oh, TP1, it hasn't been down there yet. So that would be a nice entry. Right. That's what I'm going to suggest on this one is and that's 3. Not, you don't have to be this precise. 3-0, 1, 3-0, 5-0. Perhaps put it down at the pitchfork. 1. So that would be something like stop loss of 1.30190. It's only covering you on one pitchfork though, although there is an old pitchfork there. Ideally, I like my stop loss to be below quarter theory. Gives me another barrier. So I might, to be safe, move it underneath and have it at, that just means you lose out on a few pips. It's up to you. It's your choice what 1, 2, 9, 9, 9, 9, 0. It's up to you what indicators you use. But I'll put that at stop loss of, that's now 1 to 14. And if you think that little percentages don't count, they really do add up over the year. So fiddling around with where you are with the odd 1% over the year really does add up. Okay, so I'm going to look for something like this after it's broken and retested that level at 1 point. Remember the trend line's on an angle, so that's somewhere around 1.30050 retest with a stop loss of 1.30149 and then a take profit down at 1.29799 would give me that 10 to 20. Now that's just below the Harmonic Scanner's suggested take profit 1. So if you didn't want to be ultra conservative like me and wait for quarter theory, then you could get in at that level where I've said there's the retest. That's up to you, but normally price will stall at key levels. So once it gets to that level, you know, it is probably going to do that, or even that, you know, before it will do something at that level. It will start to stall. So you have to decide, you know, whether you'll want to be in a trade while it's stalling because you've gained potentially 4 or 5 pips, depending on how, because that's narrowing now. You know, so that's where you have to make your sort of decisions. And then how safe are you? How many lines of support and resistance have you got? Now, if you don't use pitchforks, that's equally fine. You just need to draw your horizontal lines looking for levels of support and resistance. So if we look at, say, the 15-minute, then you can see that's a level of support and resistance there, where it's there and there and there. So you would draw on a line, and you'd say to yourself there, something like that. So that's how that's the other way of drawing your trend lines for support and resistance, floors and ceilings we call them. Just that I use pitchforks instead, because I've just, once you've got them on, then you know, it's on, and I don't have to keep drawing different levels. I just work to those and work to quarter theory. It's just a different method. So that's GBP USD. Oops, I've come out of, clicked off all my, no I haven't, sorry. Ord NZD, there's nothing there, that's just stalling out. I've set my alert there for when it hits that pitchfork. Price is still going up at the moment. Nothing on that one. What else did I have I wanted to look at? USD chef I was looking at this morning, Swiss franc. It is, as I say, it's the bank holiday and it's a slow pair anyway. How are we doing for time? Last 10 minutes. Is anyone in anything at the moment or want me to look at anything? There's a buy scan here. I was looking at that this morning, but I decided to set the alert up there and then look to see what it does from there. So at the moment, it's just still on its way up as a general buy. And then there's a few pips. That is slow moving pair, 10 pips, but depends where it, how soon it, how slow it is to get to that point, because that's the next real point of entry up at 98500. Then you've got a clear run up to that next level. So I don't often trade USD Swiss francs. It's a bit, I find it a bit too slow. So that would be a buy, but only when it's up at that level. Let's come out that one. And what else did I mark up? Euro GBP I was looking at because someone asked about it. I think they wanted to know when it was going to bottom out. Some of the Euro pairs. They did turn a bit earlier than quarter theory. Euro GBP. $15 minutes. This is I'll just show you the scan. The last scan I had was an upward scan and price dropped considerably, although it does, as I say, seem to be turning. And then at the moment it's in, put the padlock on so it doesn't glitch. It's come back into, this is why I love harmonics, because that's from October and they're still valid. Can you see how, if you've drawn them on accurately, how price, look at all those touches, and how they remain valid forever. So you've always got a trade and you can see what price is doing as long as you can capture it. Sometimes it can end up in the middle of the ocean where you haven't got it on anything. So it looks like it's bottomed out. I want to see it start to come way back up, and I want to see that 62 turn back up before I think about getting into that. So on the 15 minute, it has come up now, but there's a quarter theory in the way, and it's still got a long way to go to get back up to the 15. So it is turning, but it's a slow pair anyway. It's a London session pair, and I'm not predisposed to get into that. And I'm just going to make sure on the 1 minute I've got so I'll have a look at it when it's, I just moved it the other side of that. So it's just sucking along the 62. It's stalled out completely at the moment. And I want to see it get above 83312 anyway, and then do a break. I did mark that up and it did do that this morning, but I missed that. It crossed over and it went up.
Sarah, you've got a question in the chat.
Oh, thanks. I'm not very good at, I'm not very good at concentrating on stopping.
No. Do you want me to read it out?
Oh yes, please. Thanks.
Yeah, it's from Ross. It says, can you explain what the 15-minute MA is and what the parameters are, please?
Yeah. Oh, thanks. Yeah, will do. Okay. So let me finish on that one and we'll just look at another pair. to go through that. So what other one can I look at where I'll go through that? I had, did I have any others that I quite like the look of? Well, if I go back to our GBP USD one, I think, because I still like this trade, but not today, probably. Okay, so I'm on the 15-minute chart, and it's a sell scan, as you can see. And at the moment, the 62 EMA, it's called exponential moving average. And the reason for that, if I go to the indicators, if you type it in here, exponential, this is it says moving average exponential. And I think what this means, as opposed to just moving average, is that it means it's weighted, price is weighted towards the most recent price taken over 62 days. And the reason they use 62 is because it's the nearest to the Fibonacci level of 61.8. So, and then I put a star on it, so it's saved as a favorite. And the 15-minute one is when you're looking at the 1 minute moving average over on the 1 minute, which is your most recent trend, over a 15-minute time frame. And in order to get, and what's so powerful is when the 62, which is the 1 minute one, crosses the 15 minutes. Remember, your 1 minute time frame is like the storm in the ocean, and it radiates out, the ripples radiate out to the longer time frames. So the reason I look at the 1 minute, it gives you all the little mixed metaphors here, wrinkles in your palm that you're looking at. So you can see what is exactly happening in the here and now. So I know when price on the orange line, the 62, crosses the 15-minute, it's one of my most powerful indicators to give me the confidence, not on its own, to enter a trade, because I know that says that price is moving, in this case, in a strong buy. It's giving me a strong buy signal. The 15-minute one is worked out like this. I'll just show you on the indicators. Again, it's the same thing. So you just click on exponential moving average again. So I then would have two of them come up. And on the second one, the first one on the 62 is inputs 62 close 0. And on style, I just put it on orange and on a thickness so I can see it. That's the 62. And to get the 15-minute one on the settings, I have it in blue. I mean, have what you like. Blue, quite a sort of slightly thinner line. And then the inputs is 9:30 close and 0. Why is it 9:30? And it's 9:30 because it's 62 for 62 days of moving average, 62 times 15-minute, which is your 15-minute candle. Therefore, it's appearing as a 15-minute time frame because it's 62 times 15 minutes. That gives you the 1 minute trend on a 15-minute time frame, which is a slower time frame than your 1 minute. I hope that makes sense. So 1 minute is what's happening actually in the here and now. And that's why I like that so much. So it's 9:30. 9:30 is the length to put that one on. And they are one of my confirmations. So now I can see price is dropping, the 62, the 1 minute is dropping down. Once it crosses that 15-minute one, then, and look at the 15-minute exactly on quarter theory. So I love that, because once price comes down here and crosses that, then I know it's going to be more in a, it's actually a strong sell signal. It says price is selling. So you can see how price stayed above the 62 here, and then it sucked along it, dropped below for saying it's going to start selling, rallied, came back up for the buy, stayed above the 62. Once it starts stalling out, that's the time to get out of the trade, because you can see how it dropped, if you were in it for a buy, that is. And the same thing here, it was above, and once it crosses the 62, then I'm looking for that on the 1 minute trend, 1 minute time frame. Once it starts stalling on the 62, that's one of my indications, if I had been in that for a buy, that I'd be getting out of a trade, and I would put on, not I would, I do put on this one called the hull. So if we're looking at this point here, just give it a moment to load. Sorry, it's so bright. So here, not only is it crossing under the 62, but the hull is telling me on the 15-minute time frame it's in red. So that's giving me two strong indications. If I've taken my profit up here and it's dropped, or I hadn't, say I was in the buy and I was thinking, can it go higher? Can it go higher? And I saw it start to drop, and it dropped below quarter theory. And I'm thinking, oh, I don't know, is it going to rally and carry on up? Once I saw it do these two things as well, which is cross under the 62, and the hull was, you know, I've had that second flip into the red. There's one flip there, second flip into the red. I'd be out of that trade, and I'd lose those pips. So I'd lose, there's 25 pips there because I thought it might carry on up. It didn't carry on up. I've lost 25 pips. So would I have got out there? I certainly probably would have got out where it crossed under quarter theory. But I wouldn't probably have been in that for a buy anyway, because it's a sell scan off the D point. But it was just to show you, because show you one of the ones I've been looking at that I kind of know in detail. Let me turn that off before we think we're looking at Star Wars. So I hope that, oh, it's 2 o'clock your time now. So not a lot on my watch list. The other one was GBP Swiss franc. I was waiting for that to come down. So I've got that. I've got the CAD JPY and the GBP USD, and I'm in the NZD JPY at the moment, but I don't know what it's doing currently. I've only got a very small lot size on that. So that's all for today. I hope you found it helpful.
Thank you, Sarah. It was brilliant as usual.
Well,
thank you very much, Sarah.
You're very welcome. Have a good afternoon trading. Hopefully we'll see a bit of movement, and enjoy Sharon's session for those of you going on to Sharon.
You too, Sarah. Bye.
Bye.